again, how hopefully soon we can do this sitting together with each other, and you can make faces at what I say or raise your hands and say, huh, what? So I just want to say a few comments, make a few comments about hell. And I would presume that most of us would wonder, well, a God of love and hell, do those two pieces fit together? And of course, easy answer is no. And so what I want to talk about is what we create for ourselves. And so God, we believe, is a God of love and not a God of judgment, none of that stuff. God is love, acceptance, affirmation, support, encouragement, wisdom, those kinds of qualities and traits. So if we choose to accept all those blessings from God, we can do our best to create something like heaven here on earth. And if we choose not to accept those gifts and make them real in our relationships, then we're basically creating hell here on earth. And so I can't imagine that God sends anybody to hell. Now, there are people like Hitler and other people who have done horribly awful things in their lives. But there's a psychiatrist who did extensive studies on people like Hitler. I think the guy in Czechoslovakia, Kosnovsky or something like that. These dictators who murdered, Stalin, another one, murdered thousands of people. And this psychiatrist, I think her name is Alice Miller, discovered that every one of them suffered extensive sexual abuse in their formative years. And so I'd like to think that even given the horrible things that they did, somehow God will say, I have mercy for you. And it's not going to do any good for you to go to hell. I mean, what's that going to accomplish? I'm going to allow you the chance to, if you don't accept my love, that's your choice. But if you do, I'll work with you to refine and get straight all the damage, that all the stuff you did, horrible things you did to other human beings. And so I think it's really a matter of looking at what we create. And hopefully all of us can work together to create as much heaven as possible here on our earthly lives, so that when we get to the end of our earthly lives, that we believe that this kind of growth in God's goodness will just simply continue, that we will have the opportunity to just discover the endless wonder of God's love and of who God is in all of God's richness. And that there just isn't any room in God's plan for hell, because I think God is going to somehow figure out how to help all of us accept his love, and do our best to make it real in the way that we treat one another, and that process of growing in that goodness will simply continue in that place that we call heaven.